Jon Pertwee's first season as a Doctor is legendary. Not only did it bring Doctor Who to colour, but it changed the very foundations which the show was built on. No more time travel, no more bases under siege. This was Earthbound, taking inspirations from Quatermass. Season 7 saved the show. Remember, back in the late 1960s, no one knew if Doctor Who could survive into the 70s. This season was experimental, and it felt just right. Spearhead from Space blew me away when I watched it for the first time. If you want to call yourself a Doctor Who fan, give this a watch. It's a superb debut for the third Doctor.
Inflexible, you know. Could be useful on the planet Delphon where they communicate with their eyebrows. That's Delphon, but how do you do?
Alongside Tim Shaw. Liz Shaw. Underrated companion. And Briggs shows up too, following his appearances in the Troughton era. And you have these shop window dummies. I wonder what inspired RTD when he rebooted Doctor Who. Doctor Who and the Silurians is next. It was certainly an experience I'll never forget, especially Kerry Blyton's Gazoo. Gazoo. This again is a must-see, with some harrowing pandemic scenes. Peter Miles gets to play a corporate idiot years before his turn as Nyder. And that ending. Ow. Best Silurian story by far. The Ambassadors of Death is one I always seem to forget. I only rewatched this last year and already can barely remember anything, barring some iconic scenes.
You're not cleared for re-entry.
Right, cut it open.
Who can forget this infamous cliffhanger? What the fuck was that? The ending was one which always seemed baffling. This is the weakest story of the lot, but not a bad one by any means. It did introduce the iconic Doctor Who end scream sound effect after all. Inferno is another one of those must-see ones. Some think that this is too long, but it never really bothered me. It was the first time in a parallel universe, and it was done perfectly. Evil versions of beloved characters was a great twist. Prime Wards were unsettling. This is my favourite of this game-changing season, as the stakes are very high in this. Pertwee is on fine form. This is probably his best season. Many cite season 7 as their all-time favourite season of Who because this is so daring with its new approach. Stripping the Doctor of his TARDIS and keeping him on Earth was a risky idea. It ultimately worked well in this experimental season. The stories were easier to work on for the production team. They are more accessible to newcomers, despite 3 of the stories being 7-parters. Besides a few familiar hallmarks, one would be forgiven for thinking that this was a completely different show when you compare it to season 6. Doctor Who was a show transformed. Transition in production from Derek Sherwin to Barry Letts is one of the best ever seen. This season is how you reinvent a stagnant program.
The species is dangerous and hostile. We should kill them all.
And are you suggesting that...
Just missing Roger Delgado.